That's what we want to do. Good morning. Welcome to the Vashon Island Unitarian Fellowship. So delightful to see so many of you here. I think you probably know that our theme this morning is uncertainty and imagination. And that could very well be the theme for organizing this week's service. We have faced uncertainty, and our team has used a lot of imagination. We're very appreciative. If you didn't recognize it, I just wanted to commend our wonderful pianist, Gary Culp. And you'll find that his music follows our theme. You might not have heard Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for a little while, but his rendition of Pure Imagination was very helpful for setting our theme this morning. My name is Ann Lewis. I'm the service leader today. We're a lay-led community, strengthened and enriched by weaving together the work of many volunteers. Thank you so much to all of the volunteers who brought considerable time and energy for pulling together this very important and special service and meeting we're going to have today. Our service is going to be slightly abbreviated because we have some important business following our service, but I want to make sure that we still enjoy the benefits of the service together. Amongst the most important values we hold close are hospitality and openness to all, individual freedom of belief, diversity, and social justice. We seek to promote a sense of community to enrich in the spirit. Whoever you are, wherever you've come from, whatever your beliefs, whomever you love, and however bumpy your life's journey, know that you are welcome here. We especially welcome visitors and newcomers who'd like to join us. You should know that today is an unusual service. We are clear in our desire to acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Squamish Coast Salish Native people. The Puyallup and Muckleshoot people have lived on and stewarded these lands since the beginning of time and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step toward true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experience, and histories of the Indigenous people of this land and beyond. Today, we are holding this service and meeting in a hybrid fashion. That means some of us are here in Lewis Hall, some of us are on Zoom. How many people are on Zoom now, Catherine? So 5 members of our beloved community and visitors are joining us on Zoom, so we'll keep them in mind as well. If you are on Zoom and having any difficulty, please send a note to Runa by chat. Is that correct, or to Catherine?
Runa's also online.
Oh, good. Thank you, Runa. Thank you, Catherine. And they'll help you join as you can. And recording will be stopped for our joys and concerns. So please settle in and take a deep breath. And I invite you to set aside your thoughts and experiences of all that happened this morning before you arrived here, and allow yourself to settle in to be present for this moment in fellowship. Let's share a moment of silence. Rick, will you light our chalice, please?
Here today, in this place and with you, may we listen so we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. May we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice be light our way.
Thank you. Gary has an opening song. I should acknowledge that it's Color of the Wind from the Pocahontas soundtrack.
I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name.
Our opening readings this morning are by two Unitarian Universalists. Mine is by H.G. Wenzel. Keepers of the dream will come again and again, from what humble places we do not know, to struggle against the crushing odds, leaving behind no worldly kingdom, but only a gleam in the dark hills to show how high we may climb. Already there have been many such heroes, women and men whose names we do not know, but whose words and deeds still light a path for us.
And this reading comes from Dr. Albert Schweitzer, member, Church of the Larger Fellowship Unitarian Universalist. Sometimes our light goes out, but is blown into a flame by an encounter with another human being. Each of us owes the deepest thanks to those who have rekindled this inner light.
Thank you. As I mentioned, today is special. And part of that specialness is we're going to be hearing from the Reverend Dr. Susan Frederick Gray, President of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Those of you who may be new to Unitarian Universalism, we are part of a much larger group, the UUA, Unitarian Universalist Association, and the Church of the Larger Fellowship and other branches around the world. Her sermon is Embracing Possibility in Times of Change. And we're going to be watching that on this video. So I hope someone might help with the lights.
The room at home, running with, so we'll see it first.
Hello, Unitarian Universalists. I'm Susan Frederick Gray, president of your Unitarian Universalist Association, and it is my joy to be with you today. One of the gifts of these.
Hey, Bruna, can you maybe stop and I'll share my screen? Because you can't hear yourself. I'm not in control.
Yep, sorry that didn't work. Do you got it over there?
It's an delusion.
I could be in school, and she was trying to be kind, so they're gonna let me do it.
Go ahead.
Dear.
Hello, Unitarian Universalists. I'm Susan Frederick Gray, president of your Unitarian Universalist Association, and it is my joy to be with you today. One of the gifts of these pandemic times has been the ways we have grown in our capacity to connect across congregations and across our association. Over 5 years ago, when I was elected president of the UUA, I knew there was no way I could visit every UU congregation as much as I would have liked to have done so. And yet through technology and being able to offer a message that any and all of our congregations can use, I am grateful to be able to connect in this way and share with you some of what I witnessed from my vantage point as I pay attention to our association as a whole and the dynamics of our changing world. For more than a year now, I have been talking about these times we are living in as liminal times. Liminal means a time in between, when what has been is no longer and what is ahead is still unclear. The pandemic upended so much of our lives, and yet what is next is still unfolding, still being imagined. I know that many of us are no strangers to this experience, and that for many of our congregations, we are experiencing layers of liminality, layers of transitions. I can relate as I finish my last year as your UUA president, and the UUA prepares to welcome our next president. The UUA president will be elected by delegates from our congregations this coming June at our General Assembly online and in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I hope you will send your delegates. In addition to all of our own personal transitions, a number of our congregations are in various modes of change. Many are in ministerial search or hiring processes for other staff. Others are in their first year of welcoming new staff. You know, across our congregations, we are seeing a lot of staff transition and a shortage of interim ministers. Like a lot of caring professions, we have seen religious professionals leave their work, needing a break after what has been a grueling few years of both pastoral, prophetic, and technological demands. It has all been so much. It could be said that we're all learning to live and adapt in the in-between. We know from these last several years, both the challenge and the losses, as well as the creativity and possibility of these transitional times. And the lessons from these times are crucial to bring forward because in truth, there is still so much change happening and needed within and around all of us. This is certainly true in our congregations where the ways in which people connect to religious community have broadened and shifted and new patterns are still developing. And it's true in our country where we continue to witness systems and practices break down with devastating impacts. From healthcare and infrastructure to basic goods and services to the economy to democracy, our system has shown tremendous weaknesses that impact the vulnerable most acutely. Human and civil rights are being rolled back at an alarming rate, and these fissures overall reflect a society that has put profit and power over people's lives. Now, in times of change and disruption, there is always a risk that fear and anxiety will dominate and lead people to cling more tightly to what has been, to a status quo that has never served the cause of human need, nor the values of justice and equity. But here's the thing. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are a people of faith. We are a people of hope and imagination. And I witness this in so many places across our faith, from congregations that continue to partner and share resources, to the energy and volunteers of UU the Vote, to our congregations boldly sacrificing to support people in accessing reproductive care, and to all of our congregations celebrating and being a loving community for trans and non-binary children and youth and their families. And so, when so much is uncertain, it matters that we lean in even more to what we know to be true, the life-saving message of our theology and the life-affirming practices of the beloved community. So there is this wonderful parable from the late Denon Perry, a writer and humanitarian, that uses the metaphor of a trapeze artist to describe the experience of living in transition times. This is from the Parable of the Trapeze from Perry's book, Warriors of the Heart. He writes, "Most of the time, I spend my life hanging on for dear life to my trapeze bar of the moment. It carries me along at a certain steady rate of swing, and I have that feeling that I am in control of my life. But every once in a while, I see another trapeze bar swinging toward me. Each time it happens, I pray that I won't have to let go of my old bar completely before I grab the new one. But in my knowing place, I know that I must totally release my grasp on the old bar and for some moment in time must hurdle across space before I can grab on to the new bar. Each time, I'm filled with terror. It doesn't matter that in all my previous hurdles across the void of unknowing, I have always made it. Still, each time I'm afraid that I will miss. I do it anyway. Perhaps this is the essence of what the mystics call the faith experience. No guarantees, no net, no insurance policy, but you do it anyway because somehow to keep hanging on to that old bar is no longer on the list of alternatives. So for an eternity that can last a microsecond or 1,000 lifetimes, I soar through the void of the past is gone, the future is not yet. It's called transition, and I've come to believe that this transition is the only place that real change occurs. And I mean real change, not the pseudo change that only lasts until the next time my old buttons get pushed. What a powerful metaphor that is about our lives today. And a reminder that real change, needed change is possible, perhaps only possible in these transition times. Now, there's a few nuggets of wisdom in this story to really draw out. First, as Perry says, as much as we want to stay holding on to our current bar, it just doesn't work that way. We have to totally release our grasp on the old to make way for the new. And this is not easy. I want to be clear, for in times of change, there's a real tension between longing for what was, what we knew was stable, familiar, and meaningful, even if it was not that for everybody, and the opportunity to imagine something new, new forms, new practices, new possibilities in our lives and community. This is so relevant for our congregations today. The pandemic completely changed so much of congregational life and how we gather. And as we navigate what comes next, there's a real tension within many of our communities. Some of us know we can't go back. We know we need something different, and we're ready and excited for that future. But we can also have anxiety and a desperate desire to know for sure what comes next. We want that certainty, whereas others long for what was, because we are all often attached to what has been familiar to us in our past. And so many people want that familiar congregational experience again. But the truth is both of these are seeking attachment when we are in the midst of transition. And being able to stay in the transition, growing more comfortable with being in that void and uncertainty is the place where growth really happens. And this means experimentation and creativity. And this can be challenging because we want to know what comes next before letting go of what we have always done. But we can spend all our time trying to answer questions we don't have answers to, or we can just go for it and start experimenting with living our theology in ways that give us courage and resilience today. And this means bringing creativity and generosity and care to the children and youth and families that are so in need because of this pandemic. And it means courage to answer the call to fully live in active solidarity with those who know how much is on the line and working to bring about more justice, equity, and compassion to fruition. Because here's the other gem in the parable. When the trapeze artist lets go of the bar,
They do not free fall. There is momentum carrying them as it carries us all. And it's that fear of free fall that can keep us clinging to something that no longer works. But our connection, our shared history, our ancestors, our songs and readings and poetry, our spiritual imagination, all of these are momentum that propel us forward. We give each other courage. And the truth is, we are not swinging on these bars alone. We are together in this moment. And we will make mistakes and we will learn from them and we will learn to love again if we are willing to take a leap of faith. I want to acknowledge how embodied this metaphor of the trapeze artist is. But remember disabled acrobats and blind aerialists whose art and athleticism carries the same metaphors. There are many words I could use to describe the momentum that keeps propelling us in these liminal times. Calling, mission, whatever it is that acts as a beacon that calls us forward, calls us towards what is most treasured in our faith, that calling of the beloved community. And when I speak of beloved community, I mean the description that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. offers about a community that practices an all-inclusive, overflowing love that supports everyone's thriving, and a love that cannot tolerate injustice, exploitation, discrimination, and poverty because of the damage these things do to human thriving. Denon Perry ends his parable with one final lesson. He writes, I have a sneaking suspicion that the transition zone is the only real thing, and the bars are illusions we dream up. To avoid the void where the real change, the real growth occurs for us. Yes, with all the pain and fear and feelings of being out of control that can, but not necessarily accompany transitions. They are still the most alive, most growth-filled, passionate, expansive moments in our lives. Transforming our need to grab that new bar, it can be terrifying. It can also be enlightening in the true sense of the word. Hurtling through the void, we may just learn how to fly. Oh, I love that ending from Perry. And I want to use it to end with a charge for all of us. Yes, we have been in a time of change and uncertainty for years now. So many bars on which we relied just disappeared, and many of us know the deep pain of being forced into a transition that we never wanted. Naturally, within all of us, we want to get to that next bar, to be settled, to have the pandemic over, to have this transition time done, to be through the grief. However, as much as we all want to find that solidity, may we remember that as Perry offers, the bars are the illusion, and that transition is the only real time, and it's the most alive and growth-filled space. And in that liminality, in that in-between, we may just learn to fly. Because in this world that is indeed at a threshold moment, we need religious communities that are living actively in this in-between time, willing to remain unsettled because so much is unsettled. Communities leaning into and reimagining what prophetic, life-saving, and justice-making ministry and community can be. Communities practicing a generosity of spirit, a generosity of care and belonging, of mutual support, to support one another in love in these times, and knowing faithfully that our values, our spiritual imagination, our interdependence will carry all of us forward. May it be so. And I want to just end with a prayer. Spirit of life, we are mindful of all those who came before us. We are mindful and committed to all those who will come after us. Love, hold us fast to what is best and deepest in us. Hold us close to one another and to all that is our life. And may we keep true to all that calls us forward in love and in liberation. Blessed.
We had a few moments of silence during, but I invite you to take a moment of silence to think upon the important words that we've just heard. During these liminal times, we here on Vashon in our small community can sometimes feel a bit, shall I say, insular. And to hear the important words from our leadership, I believe is very inspiring because we are truly not alone. Thank you, Gary. I think there's a song coming. As a caring community, we set aside time to share our joys, sorrows, concerns in our lives by speaking briefly from the heart. This is a time to honor the common humanity and sacred spirit in each of us. Robbie will help us with the joys and concerns. And if you have a joy or concern you'd like to share, if you might come forward, she will give you a microphone and help with lighting a candle. So I invite you to come forward to share your joys and concerns.
And so we're going to do it. And I'm going to call out the words. If you don't remember them, you'll hear them and just going along. If you try, no, won't help you lowest. Love us in the sky. Imagine all the people. Imagine all the people living today. Nothing to kill or die for. No mission living life in peace. Living life in peace. You may think God's reason.
The dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll grow out and the world will be as one. As members, friends, visitors of our Vashon Island Unitarian Fellowship, we commit to supporting our fellowship. We commit to supporting our fellowship by attending at special important meetings that we have on occasion, by providing financial resources to help us pay for speakers and keep the lights on. We also engage beyond our walls for peace, social and economic justice, freedom of belief, and protection of the planet and its inhabitants. We've traditionally contributed a fourth of our offerings to community organizations that are aligned with our values, and today we're contributing our offering to our beloved community. If you're at home on Zoom, I apologize for not acknowledging any joys and concerns you may have, but also please ask Catherine if you need to know how to donate. Thank you. I believe Robbie has a closing reading.
This reading is by Reverend Joan Javier. Here we are, living, breathing creatures with minds that wonder and hearts that feel awe. We face questions that we know can't be answered, and tragedies that we know can't be explained. May we find patience for all that is unanswered, and peace with all that will never be explained. We are living, breathing creatures with open minds and tender hearts. May we hold ourselves with gentleness with all things that bring us worry and all that makes our hearts break. May the living, breathing creatures that we are feel the breath of life moving in us and through all things, bringing us into greater union with the mysterious universe of which we are a part. Blessed be. Amen.
Thank you to each of the participants in this special service, to Gary for the music, and I must also acknowledge Leslie for her music, to Mary and Runa for the technical support, to Kim and Dennis, Rick and Robbie for reading, and the program committee for helping us gather our thoughts around uncertainty and imagination. Living comes with uncertainty, and I'm glad that each of us has a chance to nourish imagination and possibilities as we create the future for VIUS. Rick, are you going to extinguish our challenge? Thank you.
We are living, breathing creatures with open minds that wonder and tender heart. May we go forth into our world of change and potential, strengthened by our time together as individuals and in community.
Let's remember what the children taught us when we had an RE program. If you remember, join me. We are Unitarian Universalists with minds that think, with hearts that love, with hands that are ready to serve. This concludes our service. And I think is a special day because this is the first Sunday of the month. And so we have birthday celebrations today. So I'd like, do we have anyone on Zoom with a birthday in December? What would both of you birthday people please come up so we can sing you happy birthday and award your treasure, the IUF pencil. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear baby. Happy birthday to you. Please choose your pencil. Treasure it. Do you need a?
I'm coming,
You'll have to speak. Oh, all right, come forward. Thank you. Yeah. Don't we have announcements first, or you want announcements? Oh, all right. Now is the time for announcements. If you have a brief announcement, please come forth and share it with us. Thank you.
This week, the women's group is going to meet at Beth, and as you know, it's a special birthday week for both Beth and Vicki. So there will be cake, and there will be ice cream, I understand. And the request is, if you'd like to join us, please test before you come. And you can bring potluck or not bring potluck or whatever feels right to you. 6:30 at Beth. Wednesday.
The 14th on my birthday.
Yep. I'll send an email confirming of everything I just said.
Thank you. Also, in the spirit of celebration, I'm conveying an invitation to all of the UUs on behalf of Marty and Annie Robinson, who many of you know as our Seebeck Unitarians. Yeah. They are both lifelong Unitarians who sleep in on Sunday. And but they're opening their home for an open house next Sunday, and would be delighted to invite each and every one of us to come. Oh, Saturday, sorry, thank you, Vicki. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Saturday, at 1 o'clock and afterwards. She has sent her, there's an email that's gone around with the address. It's their home is what used to be the White Swan Inn, and some of you old timers might remember. And it's right near the dump on Thorson Road. If you need the address, let us know.
Yeah.
Please come.
The 17th, that is, 1 o'clock.
Yes, 17th, 1 o'clock. They'd be delighted to see you. Any other announcements? Tim? Oh, we are now adjourned to our special meeting.
Good. So it's good to be with you all. And I would like to call our special meeting of the Vashon Island Unitarians together. And I'm asking our secretary if we have a quorum. We have a quorum. So today we'll be voting. Yay. That is worse than spring.
Yeah.
Today we'll be voting on the 0.25 ministerial position. And this position, as you know, has taken us quite a while to get to this place where we get to exercise our democratic right as Unitarian Universalists. And so I would just like to say that I feel like I was some of the anchor that kept us somewhat behind when we started this process almost a year ago.
Yeah.
I checked with our consultant, who hadn't read the fine print in our bylaws, nor had I, regarding the 0.25. And I wasn't aware, because the